Hi, I'm Russ Gorman. Today I have a very special treat, an actress that I've admired for, as long as I can remember, just one of the absolute best. I can't think of a better one. Please stay with us and find out who this is. We'll be right back.
When friends don't stop friends from drinking and driving. Friends die from drinking and driving. Friends die from drinking and driving can kill a friendship.
And it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Julie Harris. Welcome to the show. I'm so honored to have
Thank
you on.
you very much, Russ.
And you're currently at the Colonial Theater in Boston and Driving Miss Daisy.
Yes.
And what a wonderful play it is.
Thank you. I love the play, too.
And how wonderful you are in it.
Oh, thank you.
You know, with a great cast with you.
Yes, Brock Peters
Brock
and
Peters.
Stephen Root.
Yes.
Just the three of us.
The three of
And
us.
fortunately, we all love each other. And
it comes across.
Well,
you know, you do something that's quite amazing. You always do it, but you did it again in this show. Within 30 seconds of coming on that stage, you established the character. I don't know how you do that.
well, Mr. Urie has written a very strong lady and a very definite, and I think it's sort of easy to be Daisy immediately because there's an extraordinary circumstance, that first scene where she's come from the hospital and she's crashed her car and her son is saying she can't drive anymore and she's fighting for her life, you know, for her independence. She's 72 and she doesn't want to lose that independence.
And I have something funny I have to tell you about. She starts off at 72 and it's like a 25-year span, isn't
Goes
it?
to 97.
Right. Well, going out of the theater, I heard someone say, "Oh, I'm so glad I was able to see Julie Harris on this." And the friend said, "Well, it's probably the last play that she's going to be doing."
The end of her life.
They believe it.
I know.
You know, you're too good for your own good.
Once when I was in Knots Landing, the evening series, as the character Lily May, I broke my arm, and people said, "Oh, I'm so sorry you broke your arm." They really thought I broke my arm. Yes.
That's a tribute. You've had probably a greater gallery of characters that you've played than anyone that I can think of. And just a wonderful Frankie Adams in Member of the Wedding and Sally Bowles. I could probably run lines with you from Member of the Wedding. I've seen it so many times.
Isn't that great?
Oh, and of course, Sally in I'm a Camera is one of my all-time favorite characters, one of my favorite movies. And Queen Victoria, Mrs. Lincoln, Eliza Doolittle.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go on forever.
Well, I've been very lucky, yes.
Oh, and you've just created these different, wonderful characters. And it's always been such a treat, and they stick with you.
Wow.
It's like having a wonderful painting given to you after seeing you perform in something.
Yes, well, that's what the theater is to me, too, because I'm a great theater fan, and I love to see plays. And there are indelible performances in my mind that I remember, like Laurette Taylor in The Glass Menagerie, and Laurence Olivier when he played Oedipus in that season that they did. The old Vic came to New York, and Lee J. Cobb in Death of a Salesman, and so on and so on. I mean, I'm a great theater fan. Recently in Roger Rees as Nicholas Nickleby, the Royal Shakespeare. Oh,
wonderful.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And I've heard that M. Butterfly is absolutely wonderful.
Wonderful. B.D. Wong as M. Butterfly is extraordinary.
Oh,
it's a really beautiful performance.
Now, when you're playing a historical character, say Queen Victoria or Mrs. Lincoln, do you do it strictly through the script, or do you do your own research as well?
Oh, well, it's very exciting when you're doing a person who lived. You can do all that research and reading about them. Very often, like Queen Victoria, you can read her own correspondence. You can read the way she wrote, the way she thought, her diaries. And yes, I do that. And with Mrs. Lincoln, I even went to Lexington, Kentucky, where she was born, and walked up and down the streets. That makes something very vivid to me, very real.
Oh, sure.
I went to Springfield and saw the house where the Lincolns lived. I have been in the White House, of course, and Ford's Theater, and the little house across the street where Mr. Lincoln was when he just before he died, where he was taken from the theater. Oh yes, and people like that, the Lincolns and Victoria and Florence Nightingale. I keep reading about them. You know, it's very exciting to me. When I did when I did the Belle of Amherst about Emily Dickinson, of course I've been to her house in Amherst, and even wherever she has been, like in Philadelphia, and the church where she went, the Congregational Church, the Methodist Church maybe it was, but I've been to the church where she first saw Mr. Wadsworth, the preacher that she was so devoted to. And that is very stimulating to look out. I've been to the Bronte Parsonage in Haworth, England, in Yorkshire, and I can tell you what scene is outside of each window, you know, in the parsonage.
That certainly would enrich
yes,
your imagination.
It does.
Then you bring it right on and project it.
Yes, then you've been in the room, you've seen the furniture, you know, it makes a big difference.
And you studied at the Actor Studio, didn't you?
Yes.
Now that's really all part of that. The Actor Studio is probably the most exciting actors' workshop in the world.
Well, it was for me, and still is going. Yes, as a theater school in New York and in Los Angeles, I believe too. And the Stanislavski method, which was the inspiration for the Actor Studio, emphasizes that the more you know about the person you're playing, the better it is. And so if you know their background, if you can recall their childhood, I mean, it does. It makes it so.
It colors it.
Yes.
Do you think the method has been kind of given a bad rap?
Well, it was, I think, probably in the 50s, because people, great actors like Marlon Brando and James Dean, who I acted with, I was in a film with Marlon. Sometimes people would say, I can't understand them, they mumble. Now, the mumbling was like, it was a reaction to the great speakers, the great actors who spoke.
Proclaim.
And when it was a little unreal, that delivery.
Sure.
So then the actors in the 30s and 40s said, that's not real. I mean, you've got to speak like real people. And so it came down to what the audiences felt was mumbling. I always remember I was in the play I'm a Camera by John Van Druten, and he had directed Marlon in I Remember Mama with Mady Christians. And he said the stage manager was always getting complaints from the other actors saying, I can't understand him, he mumbles, he doesn't, and what did you say? But so John would go to, because he had directed the play, he would go and see a performance, and he would come backstage and he said, well, whatever Marlon says, the audience reacts to. They laugh when the joke's there, and so...
That's what counts.
That's what counts.
Exactly.
The kind of delivery he had for Stanley Kowalski in A Streetcar Named Desire was extraordinary.
Oh, yes.
And it was an absolute breakaway from the declaiming kind of acting. Yeah.
And very, very much more sensuous than the audiences had been accustomed to.
Absolutely.
That's that raw animal sort of thing he projected.
Yes.
You mentioned John Van Druten. Now, he wrote I Am a Camera. He's written several wonderful plays, but he doesn't seem to be...
Voice of the Turtle.
Right.
Well, if those plays...
No, he didn't do
No, he didn't do
that. Was John the Hot Dog.
And John had a lot of successes with light comedies, culminating in something like The Voice of the Turtle, which was a great hit during the Second World War with Margaret Sullivan and Elliot Nugent. I think if that play was done again, it would be a big hit.
I think so too.
Yes, but it now is it's a kind of history piece. That, I mean, where that was the soldier coming back on leave from the Second World War, and the actress in New York, and we would now consider it a period piece, but I think
Sure.
it would still be it is a great comedy.
I think so too.
I think John did the Winslow Boy, John Windrow. He did a play about a schoolboy. And I can't quite remember what the...
Didn't he also do Old Acquaintance? He wrote Old Acquaintance originally.
It's not awful. I'm not sure.
I think so.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which was a big film
Yes.
success.
Yes, that's right.
Enormous film success. You played
Young Woodley.
Young Woodley. Oh yeah, sure. I remember that.
Now I think that would stand up today too.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's so much that could be revived to our advantage
Yes.
because we're not getting enough straight plays.
Yes. That's
And I also think that we're getting too accustomed to spectacles. They're wonderful, the Les Mises and the
Yeah.
Phantoms of the Opera,
oh,
but
the Phantom is
great.
Oh, I love
But we need plays too.
Yes,
And
of course.
Intimate
That's why
plays.
this Driving Miss Daisy is so wonderful.
Exactly.
It's a remarkable play.
Yes, and it's human and it brings you closer to people.
Yes.
And I think we have to sort of nurture that kind
Yes.
of play. Certainly don't want to lose it.
No.
That would be a tragedy. I have something that I'm going to show you in just about a minute when we come back, because it's a surprise that I have. And I'll be very curious to see how you react. I want to read you something, then I'll show it to you. But we are going to be breaking for just about a minute. We'll be right back with Julie Harris. Please stay with us.
Should you know more about Social Security? Many people don't know the half of it.
I didn't like paying for Social Security, and neither did my dad. But I found out after he died that they pay me, and about 3 million other kids every month.
I didn't think Social Security would be around when I retire, but now I know there's enough money to pay benefits way into the next century.
Get the whole story. Call 1-800-937-2000 for this free booklet and see what's in it for you. Social Security. It never stops working.
When Friend fell, he called for help. But the only ones there were ignorance, incompetence, indifference. Friend called for help again. Confusion came instead. At last, help came. Help knew what to do. In times of emergency, are you help? Learn Red Cross First Aid, where you work, or call your local chapter.
And we're back with my guest, Julie Harris, who's appearing in Driving Miss Daisy at the Colonial Theater. I have a newspaper, and there's an article about something that you appeared in. In one play, The Member of the Wedding, an old star and a new star get together. The old one is Ethel Waters, a feature of many a grand old musical. Remember Stormy Weather and Heatwave. In recent years, Miss Waters has had her downs and maybe her outs. Then came her success in the film Pinky and in The Member of the Wedding. She reasserts herself as a splendid dramatic actress. Working with her is a young Julie Harris, playing a mixed-up girl who is not quite 13. Miss Harris has been showing promise, and it's in quotations, in comparatively small parts for the past 2 or 3 seasons. And in this new play, she makes good on the promise, playing to perfection a long, hard role. Let's show them the picture.
Yes.
That must bring back some very pleasant memories for you.
Oh, yes.
With
my
Ethel
goodness.
Waters.
That was one of the extraordinary moments of my life, to be with Ethel for 1.5 years in that play, and Brandon, that
And
little
Brandon.
angel. Yes, Brandon DeWilde. Yes, it was a wonderful experience for me. Just overwhelming.
You've done a couple of things by Carson McCullers. Of course, Member of the Wedding, and then
Yes.
Reflections in a Golden Eye.
Yes, with Marlon.
Yes.
Yes,
That-
and Elizabeth Taylor.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Brian Keith.
Sure, the excellent movie.
Yes.
I'll tell you something funny about that movie. The first time I saw it, it was in a sepia color.
Yes. I don't know why that
I'm
was
so glad
John
you
Huston
agree
who
with me.
directed it. Well, I didn't
And then they
mind it,
colored
but
it.
that was in his mind to do it that way. I don't know why, but then they did it
In color.
in color. Yeah.
I was beginning to think it was in my mind because I saw it and then I saw it in color. Something's wrong here.
I know.
You know, I'm a little off base on
No,
this.
they
It's
took
like-
it off in that sepia print. They really nobody liked it, so they took it off.
But that's another fine role.
Oh, it's a wonderful story. I love
Yeah.
it. Reflections in a Golden Eye.
And your role in it was
Oh,
you know,
wonderful. Yeah.
just a wonderful role. You must have met Carson McCullers.
Yes, yes.
They say she's a very troubled, unhappy woman.
Yes, a great artist. She was a rather unhappy person, but wrote some of the most. I mean, her first novel was uh, the Heart is a Lonely Hunter,
Yes.
which was written when she was 21.
Isn't it amazing?
An extraordinary book. I mean, I love to read that book
Oh, yeah.
over and over and
I
over
do,
again.
too.
Yes.
21. And
Yeah.
how old was she when she did Member of the Wedding?
Well, maybe about
Year or so?
late 20s or something like
That
that.
long?
Yes.
I always felt that that was probably
I
pretty
mean, the play. She
Yes.
wrote the book
Oh, yeah.
shortly after
Uh-huh.
The Heart is a Lonely Hunter.
I always felt that was probably pretty autobiographical.
I think so, because Carson was a great musician.
Mhm.
She had wanted to be a concert pianist, and but always had this ability to write, and she was writing plays as a child. And, yes.
I have to ask you something again. You'll be saving my sanity on this. One of the most memorable roles I've ever seen was Ethan Frome,
Oh,
Matty Silva. I'll
yeah.
never forget it.
Oh.
However, I did forget who your leading man was.
Oh, it was, no. Oh, it was that beautiful man who married Madeline Carroll, who was very much younger, and took his when he got divorced, he took his children on the ship.
Sterling Hayden.
Sterling Hayden.
I never would have remembered.
That's who it was, and everybody loved him as Ethan.
Oh,
He was extraordinary.
what a wonderful performance
Yes.
that was.
Well, you know that
Oh,
Ethan
of course.
Frome was Edith Wharton's novella,
Mhm.
a great book, and it was bought by Warner Brothers for Bette Davis as a film, and somehow they never did it. A woman named Helen Deutsch wrote the screenplay, and then it was never done as a film, and I think
That's
it's one of the, it would make one of the great films of the world.
Oh, yeah.
It's a wonderful story.
You know, I wonder if they'll ever get around to it. No, it's
I
again,
hope so. I think someday someone will.
Oh, someone should.
Yes.
But, you know, yours is the definitive Ethan Frome. It's just
Oh.
absolutely wonderful.
Thank you, Russ.
You've had, what, 2, 3 Emmys? You also have a little more of
I
album?
think 2 Emmys.
2 Emmys.
Yes.
But 5 Tonys. That's the record.
Well, it's nice.
And every one of them deserved.
Well,
Now, you got an Emmy for Sally.
yes, for a Tony.
A Tony, that's an Emmy.
For I'm
Tony.
the Camera.
For I'm a Camera.
For
40 Carats.
yes, I think so, 40 Carats. The Last of Mrs. Lincoln, The Belle of Amherst,
Mm-hmm.
and The Lark.
The Lark, of
Yes.
course. Most impressive record. Wow. It's just been, you know, you are having, I should say, certainly shouldn't say you're having such an absolutely remarkable career. And I want to mention that it is your birthday today.
Yes, it is.
And, you know, there's such a wonderful year. You're a Sagittarian, of course.
Yes.
And Emily Dickinson
Was
was a
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius
So
as
was
well.
Mrs. Lincoln.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, you're getting into the habit of playing these. Now, you mentioned earlier Charlotte Bronte.
Yes.
This is something that you're doing now, isn't it?
Yes.
That
I have been doing it. William Luce, who wrote The Belle of Amherst, also wrote Bronte. And I've been doing that first. It started here at WGBH in Boston as a radio drama.
Oh.
Eleanor Stout was producing it. And then it went on to be filmed, and then now I'm doing it on the stage.
That's going to be an exciting performance to see,
It's
too.
a wonderful play.
They're somewhat similar. I don't mean similar in character
Well,
necessarily, but in lifestyle.
they had a great bond. The Brontes came before Emily Dickinson, and there was an ocean parting them. They never met, but Emily Dickinson read the poetry of Emily Bronte, and in her will, she asked that Emily's great poem, No Coward Soul Is Mine, be read at her grave. And Colonel Higginson read that poem over her grave.
They were both isolated ladies
Yes.
who produced brilliant works.
Yes.
That has to be tricky for an actress to do.
Well, I love both those ladies and all the Brontes, and it was a great thrill for me to do it.
You're projecting their inner life, and that's so
Yes.
skillful.
Thank you.
I do want to thank you so much for being
thank
here
you, Russ.
and taking the time on your birthday. And are you superstitious at all?
Not terribly.
There's an old actor superstition that I heard, that if an actor works on their birthday, they'll work all year long.
Oh, That's good.
So is that wonderful?
Yes, that's wonderful.
So it's always a good idea to work on your birthday.
Yes.
Give a performance wherever you are.
Oh, great.
It's been such a treat for me to
Thank
meet you.
you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Until next time, I'm Russ Gorman on Astrology. Wish on a Star.